Good morning and welcome back to Vlogmas. It's already been a very interesting day. We went to a coffee shop here on St. Simon's. It was super cute. I'm going to put videos of now. And then when we got back from the coffee shop, I let Sebastian play with a new toy that we were going to film a TikTok with for TikTok shop, but his mouth ended up getting stuck on it, so I ended up filming a video of why not to buy it, which was very interesting and very stressful. And then now one of my sisters isn't feeling great due to chronic illness, so we're just hanging around the island and having a day, so I'm just gonna vlog what we do around the island. If you have the viral giant tennis ball for your dog, I actually recommend you get rid of it, and here's why. I was super excited to let Sebastian try this big tennis ball that went viral a few months ago. His favorite toy is a ball, and he absolutely loves to play fetch. And I had seen that every other dog that has tried it that I've seen on video loves this toy. And honestly, Sebastian had a lot of fun herding it and pushing it around the yard up until he bit down on it. And thankfully, I have a very calm dog who still loves his ball because I was freaking out more than he was. Right here, you can see him bite down on it, and the ball actually gets stuck on his teeth. At first, I thought he was just carrying it around, and then I realized that he really couldn't get it off. When I tried to help him get it off, I couldn't get it off originally. So I went and got my mom, and while I was holding him still, she was able to put enough pressure on the ball to get his teeth unstuck. And worst case, I would have popped it with a knife. But for this reason, I cannot recommend this product. And I'm thankful Sebastian ended up being okay. This is tomorrow, and one of our favorite traditions is making cookies for Santa Claus to leave by the chimney. This year, Sebastian wanted to partake and make treats for Santa Paws and himself. We found this really easy dog treat recipe online that took maybe 30 minutes to make, but it definitely took me longer because I was filming this video. For the dog treats, you take 2.5 cups of coconut flour, 1 large egg, 1 cup of peanut butter. It calls for 1 cup of water, but I ended up using closer to 2 or 3, and then 2 tablespoons of honey. You combine these into a mixing bowl and mix them until you have the dough the consistency that you want. And since I chose to use coconut flour, I just kept adding water to the mixture to make sure it got to be doughy and stick together. Also, don't be surprised if your dog sits at your feet this entire time begging you to let them lick the spoon or give them the treats before they're even baked. And make sure that you push the bowl off the edge of the counter so that your dog doesn't jump up and try to steal it like Sebastian did yesterday. Once you have your dough mixture, it's time to actually form the treats. If you have cookie cutters, you can put them into a cookie cutter to make cute little shapes, or you can do like what I did and make them into a ball and then flatten them into little circles. And honestly, I probably could have made these a little bigger, but they're the perfect bite-sized treats for any dog, including Santa Paws. Once you have all your treats formed and on your baking sheet, you can put them in the oven that is already preheated at 350 degrees and bake them for about 18 to 20 minutes depending on the size of your treats. With mine being just perfectly bite-sized for the pups, it took about 18 minutes to bake. And then after they're done baking, you can set them aside to cool while you work on the icing. After pulling both batches out of the oven and setting them aside to cool, it was time to make my frosting. To make this frosting, you need 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon of honey, a 1/3 cup of cornstarch, and then 3 to 4 tablespoons of hot water. But you can keep adding water until you get the consistency you want for your frosting. To make the frosting, you combine the peanut butter and honey in a microwavable bowl and heat the microwave in 15-second increments, stirring in between until melted. And then you add the melted peanut butter mixture to the cornstarch and stir it until it's just combined. And then add water until you meet the consistency that you want for your frosting. And of course, let your pup lick the spoon. Once you have the frosting at the consistency you want, you can put it into a Ziploc bag or any kind of frosting piping thing that you have and frost your cookies. I chose to do a simple schoolgirl design just because it was easy and I'm not an artist. And then I always love sprinkles on my Christmas cookies, so I decided to use our lamb paw pairing as sprinkles for our Santa Paws cookies. And we can't wait to leave these out tonight for Santa Paws to deliver Sebastian's present. So Sebastian got in a lot of trouble today because while my uncle and my cousins were visiting, we put him out in the backyard and I hadn't heard from him for a little bit, and so I went out there and I called him and he didn't come, and I looked around, he just wasn't there. So I looked, and luckily when I started screaming outside the front door and in the road and started walking around, there was a lady who heard me and said, "Oh my gosh, are you yelling for a dog? There's one up here, a German Shepherd." I said, "That's mine." And people were trying to catch him and he was dodging everyone with his collars, and they were trying to get him to put him in a car, and they said they were going to ask around here to see if it was anybody's dog. Luckily he dodged them because I don't trust people, and we checked everything and think that he jumped the fence, which he has done back home, but it's a lot scarier here because this isn't our neighborhood. Nobody knows him here. So yeah, it's my fault. I left him out in the backyard unattended, but yeah, I'm just glad that he's okay and that he made it back safe and that we found him, and that I noticed that I hadn't seen him in a while or heard from him when I did. So my friend Vanessa is actually going to an event on the island tonight that's like a Christmas party and inviting me to go with her. So my sister and I are going to go meet her right now and see what's going on. So we didn't know what this was. We should have looked a little more into it. It is basically just people on the island getting together to drink and celebrate Christmas. Vanessa and I hung out for a while. She came back to the house and we hung out with my family, and it's a good night overall.